Welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast.
It's not over till that bitch is dead.
Let's delve into that a bit deeper.
I'm going to be like the peacekeeper between you two tonight.
Don't fuck with the original.
Yeah, don't fuck with the original.
Let's start again, shall we?
Let's start again.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Horror Friendly Podcast, part of the You Run podcast network. My name is Katie, and I am joined by Charlie and Chantel. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey.
Charlie is back, but sounds like the Wheezy toy from Toy Story.
Just about. Yeah, that's all that matters.
She could be Paimon from this film. The
No, I'm not going.
King of Hell, whatever it is.
He's never quite there, but always kind of there.
I'm the Pigeon King, or whatever it is.
Fucking...
The Pigeon King, exactly.
Right, well, we've already given it away, but this week we are doing the 2018 Hereditary. I didn't know whether you were laughing or sneezing then. So when the matriarch of the Graham family passes away, her daughter and grandchildren begin to unravel cryptic and increasingly terrifying secrets about their ancestry, trying to outrun the sinister fate they have inherited. I can't remember who suggested this one. Katie, for first thoughts, first experience?
Yeah, so I watched this in the cinema when it came out. I absolutely loved it, like from the get-go. Really, it was really fucking intense watching it in the cinema because so much shit happens and so much trauma happens, and all the little Easter eggs that you sort of see throughout the film and in the dark corners and things like that. It was really scary watching it in the cinema, and it fucked with me for a long time. Like, I couldn't watch this film until we had to watch it for the podcast. Like, I just didn't. I couldn't like mentally prepare myself to watch it. It just took a lot out of me, like mentally. So yeah, I hadn't watched this since I watched it in the cinema. But yeah, I fucking love this film. It just takes a lot out of me.
Was it as scary watching it at home as it was in the cinema?
Not quite. Like, it still was pretty scary because I forgot like a lot of what happens because I hadn't really kind of like sort of seen any kind of clips or anything. Like, I don't know, it is one of those films that like you don't have to, it's better if you the less you know the better, sort of like going into it. But like, it was still pretty fucking awful and like fucked up, but yeah, in the cinema it just hit different. But yeah, no, I still had a really good time like coming back to it. But yes, have you seen this film before?
So no, we have spoken about this several times, and we spoke about it when we did Midsummer, I believe, and I was deliberately holding off until we did it for the podcast, because I wanted fresh perspective. So my first time watching it was yesterday. I can see why it would have been incredibly intense in the cinema, and I kind of wish I'd done. I have like my Sunday routine of like, I get home from derby training, beaten to shit. I've like Epsom salt bath, and I literally watch the film in the bath. So I'm in quite a calm environment anyway. But like,
oh my god!
Even for me, do you know how much hot water I had to re-add to the bath because it's such a fucking long film? I was a goddamn raisin. I was a fucking raisin by the time I got out. I was like, I actually had to stop it, get out, and then like carry it on because it's so fucking long. And I think the really, really intense bits are good, but it's too fucking long. And it's, yeah, I don't know. I expected to love it from everyone. Everyone I talked about this is like, yeah, it's a really scary film, really great. And I was just like, eh. And again, I don't know what my problem is lately. I'm just not loving many of the horror films. And
she's moving over to Sci-Fi, lad. You found it here first.
I don't know what's happening, but I'm going to throw it to Charlie, because was it your first time watching this yesterday as well?
No.
Okay.
This was my second time watching it.
Okay.
I have to say, I didn't love it as much as what I did the first time I saw it.
Okay.
First time I saw it, it was at home again. This time I watched it by myself. I've forgotten all about the ending. I don't know how that, like, I forgot about that because I remember at the time, like, that being such a big thing for me. But yeah, this time around, I didn't love it as much as what I did the first time. So I would love to watch this again properly as well. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't have the same amount of love for it. But then I did notice little Easter eggs this time round, which I hadn't have noticed before. So yeah, it's a weird relationship with this film. Like at the time, like when I first saw it, would have rated it, and even up until like yesterday morning, I was still saying to my mum like, "Oh, you need to watch this film. It's really good. It's right up your street." But then yeah, after watching it, I was a bit like, "Okay, yeah, my mum would still like it," but I don't think I'd go out of my way to really sort of recommend it in a way that I have like Midsummer, for example. Obviously, one of his other films that came out at the time and things. So yeah, I've got mixed feelings on this one.
I don't really know where to go from there, really, because it is just, I think, such a fucking weird film. I mean, we can start at the beginning. That funeral was weird. Like, but I think it shows you so much. And I do like that he does this, and he did it again in like Midsummer and stuff. And he's done it in a few films where you can see how I've already forgotten Toni Collette's character's name, but how she was talking about, sorry, Annie was talking about her mum, and that whole speech at the funeral shows they didn't have a close relationship, shows her mum was very secretive, and it tells you so much in a very short scene. So I did like that. I love the daughter just pulling the chocolate bar out of her pocket and eating it like a piece of bread.
Has it got nuts in?
I know. I love that they checked the chocolate that was in her pocket. Like, where did she get it from? If I think she brought it with her, like, unless she stole it off a snack table. I don't know. Like, don't know what they were thinking, but it just made me laugh. The grinning mourner was a bit weird.
Yeah, that was creepy.
So you've always got to have some sort of creep at a funeral, though. Or wake.
I mean, if you're not the creep, if you can't spot the creep, you probably are the creep. But it's that thing they say about naked neighbours.
Yeah, it's when you run a satanic cult, you always got to have a weirdo in there.
But again, we don't know anything about the satanic cult yet. So
we don't.
Yeah. Who would have suspected the satanic cult had weirdos in it, right? No, it's over the Satan bit. It's the cult part.
Yeah, it was quite cool how they built it up, because like she was like, "Oh, I don't." Basically, she was saying that she didn't recognize half the people that were at the funeral.
Yeah.
And so already you kind of think that, okay, her mum's got a lot of secrets, and how she's got like her box of her mum's things, and like she doesn't even want to go through them, because it's almost like she doesn't want to know, like she doesn't want to find out anything sketchy about her mum.
Yeah, I think it's almost like she knew enough. Like she knew their relationship wasn't good, and again, we hear more about it later. But she didn't. Yeah. She didn't need to look through it to know they didn't have a good relationship. Yeah. I did like when she asked her husband if should I be mourning more or should I be more upset, and I think that's a very real feeling that people get. Even if people are heartbroken, they can still feel like they're not mourning enough. So I thought that was just very smart, very cleverly added.
Yeah.
I think as well, like Toni Collette, she absolutely slays this role. Like, I'm just going to put that out. Like, she is this movie for me personally. And I think she tells the story very well. And this, like, she is probably one of the film's biggest assets. Her and Wolf, is that Alex Wolff?
Alex Wolff?
Alex Wolff, is that the son?
Yeah, Peter.
Yeah, Alex Wolff.
See, don't be wrong, he was brilliant, but he didn't look like the rest of the family. Was it just me? Because it was like when he was with Charlie, I was like, they don't look like brother and sister. And I know when you're casting for a film, you're never going to get it spot on, but I was just like, they are very different. They don't look related whatsoever.
I think that sort of plays into the role of it because they approach things so differently as well.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it was a deliberate choice. But I just kept...
I know what you mean. Like, it's like,
it's the party scene,
Daddy's team. Like...
Well, yeah, I was like, maybe a different dad? Like, and again, not judging, but it was never confirmed.
Maybe Annie's shagged the postman or something.
Yeah. But there was an age gap. There might have been a previous husband. Like, so, but it's just, yeah.
Yeah, well, sorry, so I was kind of going on from that. I read somewhere, but I don't think it's insinuated in the film, but that he was her former therapist, and that's how they met. But is that actually in the film? Or
it's a deleted scene.
Oh, okay.
So it's a deleted scene that he's because it goes into his job being a therapist and everything. But yeah, he it was a deleted scene. I did a little bit of research on that.
Ooh.
And it does dive into that bit.
Definite conflict of interest to that one.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Like,
But also with Charlie, like, I expected her to be in the film quite a bit longer, considering she's on the cover.
45 or 48 minutes, I think she lasted. Like, which is funny when you're saying that she.
But I guess she's very important. She's very important to the whole film. She doesn't have to be the whole time, I guess.
Same with Grandma, actually. She was very important to the film without actually being present. But considering she was on the poster, I was so expecting like her. I was just expecting her to come back. I was expecting like Pet Sematary vibes going on. Because as you said, Katie, I think it's good to go into this without knowing a lot. So I tried to know as little as possible. So I had no idea it was going to be a satanic cult. That was a fucking left turn for me at the end. Like
sort of family drama.
But this was it.
We've all got our secrets.
Yeah, right. But for most of the film, it was a really heartbreaking human. Sorry.
Yeah.
But human horror where this family were dealing with a shit ton of grief and then horrible situations literally within their close knit. And when Toni Collette, I'm going to keep calling her that rather than Annie, when Annie breaks at the dinner table, that's so fucking real and that's so upsetting and you feel that in your soul. But it's, and then it just takes this left turn and I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Where did the fucking cult come? It was so funny. I was like, what happened here?
I think it's interesting because it definitely, I mean, grief is the main factor of this, and it was also the main sort of subject of Midsummer as well. I think Ari Aster has like some sort of thing with cults and grief, but it explores it in like what people and families do just to try and find, so I guess not maybe an escape, but a way through and dealing with their grief. And I think this is, again, like it's another, obviously we saw Midsummer, she goes off and explores and wants to go traveling. This one is like, well, actually, my daughter is too young. Let's try and find a way to talk to her. Obviously, we don't know that she's been guided into that way. But like it is a thing that people do and believe in and want to explore.
Yeah, it's harder when it's shoved down your throat. That's what you should do. But
manipulated.
But also she does, like, she makes the miniatures and she's like, oh, it's an unbiased point of view of the crash. And I'm like,
I mean, the crash scene, like,
yeah, I said we'll come back to that, but like her way of coping by recreating her daughter's death, I was like, I understand people grieve in different ways, but even your psychiatrist husband is like, that's fucked up. If our son sees that, that's going to be fucking a lifetime of therapy. Like,
good job that his dad's a therapist, isn't it? Save him a bit of money there.
God, like, just an interesting way to cope.
And it's also like, even like forgetting about the satanic cult bit, but like Joan, who she like makes friends with and shows her how she connected with her grandson and her son. And obviously she had an ulterior motive to obviously try and summon Paimon, but like she completely just exploited like Charlie's death in order for, and like Charlie was saying, our Charlie is saying, like, it's it's funny.
Charlie.
It's crazy, like the lengths that people go when you are in deep grief, like the lengths that people will go to do that. And it's just so sad that like Annie was the one that kind of like essentially summoned this demon because she wanted to reach out to her daughter.
She told me to read this and I read it. What language is it in? I think
never,
that's everyone.
Never read.
Like, don't
read the fucking Latin.
Put the book down, Annie. Annie, are honestly. You okay?
But it's funny you say about like exploiting her death, but they actually caused her death because when you see that lamppost, it's got their symbol on it.
Yes.
So somehow they set it up. Like they must have put the deer carcass there. And who the fuck cuts nuts at a party? Like,
well, it's in the chocolate cake.
There were a fuck ton of nuts as well.
There were a fuck ton of nuts to go into that one cake, and also that cake had already been baked. So I don't even know if the nuts were in it or if it's because they used the same knife. Like there were so many scenarios.
Squash them in there.
Just get in the fucking cake.
Like if you're highly sensitive to nuts, like they even put out announcements on aeroplanes. Like there's a passenger on board. Please put your nuts away.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I've worked with people.
They'll do that anyway.
Prepare for takeoff.
I've worked with people who it's like it's an air. Oh fuck, I forgot the word. But yeah, you can literally catch it from nuts being in the air.
Airborne,
thank you.
That's mad.
And it's fucking literally there's such a severity to it. But like I do hate as well. I know we're gonna get to her death in a second, but before the death, when the son is asking to go to the party and he obviously blags it to barbecue. One, parents just accept you went to parties as kids, let your teenager go to some parties. But also, why do parents insist on the older sibling taking the sibling who is significantly younger to the same fucking party, barbecue, I don't care, event?
So they can get laid.
No, well, she just needed time to herself. But, sorry, no. Like, that fucking 13-year-old didn't want to be there. It was going to be a party for his year group. Why would you want your 13-year-old hanging out with a bunch of 16, 17-year-olds anyway? Like, stop doing this.
And she did kind of think that she said like, oh, there is going to be alcohol. Like even when Peter said there wasn't going to be, like she knew there was going to be. So why would she want Charlie going there anyway?
Yeah. Like I know she wanted a break, but I do hate, we do see this like a lot in or like films, but you see it in life as well, where it's like, the first question is Charlie going? Like, what? Your sibling doesn't have to go to...
I have social anxiety.
But also, yeah. But like, the sibling doesn't have to go to everything together, especially when there's an age gap. Because like me and my siblings, we went to a lot of shit together, but we're all like 18 months apart. So there was a lot of crossover.
Yeah, for me and my sister, like she's 4 years younger than me. Yes. Which I'm guessing is probably the same sort of age difference as this. Like, I think if my mum would be like, I was there and go with you, I'd be like, fuck off.
Yeah, well, when we were 17, sneaking you into
and also, like, me and my sister have never sort of been close or into the same thing as well, much like Alex and Charlie and Ness. So, yeah, I think like, if my parents had been like, oh, you taking your sister? I'd be like, no. No, I'm not.
But I think Alex was like, sorry, Katie.
No, you go.
I've said a lot. But I feel like Alex was a good brother because he was like, give me a couple of minutes and then we'll hang out. I'll come draw with you. So like he knew what she was interested in and he knew how to be a good brother. He just wanted time to himself. Yeah. And I think that's perfectly acceptable. Like,
yeah, like Millie Shapiro, who played Charlie in it. She said, she was like, oh, well, I think like Charlie likes Peter the most because like he kind of gets her and kind of just lets her get on with it.
Yeah.
Whereas like Annie is like trying to be like, oh, you can make friends this way and you can do that, and she's just chill. I mean, she's a bit creepy, but she's just chill, like cutting off.
She's possessed by a demon,
and you know, just drawing and doing whatever she's doing. And I think Peter kind of gets that a bit more, like than maybe her parents do. So they seem like they have a bit more of a mutual understanding.
Yeah, he's like, look, my sister's the creepy kid. That's fine.
Yeah,
just
like
let her do her thing. Like, leave her.
Did you just say about cutting the head off of the pigeon?
I did.
Yeah. Because that
bit of scissors.
One, no classroom pair of scissors is that fucking tough. Like,
they're talking about America, mate. They've got fucking guns.
Yeah, exactly. They've got guns.
This isn't going to be shit.
They've got guns, but no fucking Kinder eggs because they've got their priorities in the wrong order. The pair of scissors in the classroom are going to be blunt as fuck. Like, that's just fact, I'm afraid. So when it started going through the pigeon, I was like, I just don't believe it. Just don't buy it at all. But I did love that, obviously, she had an obsession with cutting off the pigeon's head and the toys. She was always playing with the heads.
Well, it comes in later, obviously, like the bird lord king, and also like the noise that she's making.
Oh, the cluck.
Yeah. The cluck. What do pigeons and birds and fucking chickens do? They cluck. And I've read like a theory online as well that because she is possessed, maybe that is like actual Charlie in her trying to make a sound, and that's what the demon then mimics like later on, like, oh look, she was helpless and this is her trying to make it known that she was not in a great place. But yeah,
I did like that when Peter did it, because obviously it was such a clear indication that Charlie was now with him. I don't know, I just thought that was really subtle but really good. But yes, we can go back to the party and her
oh god,
with chocolate cake.
She did act that really well.
Jesus Christ.
The allergy.
Yeah, I mean, she fucking smashed her role as well. Like,
unintended.
I mean, I'm not sure if that's a bit of a car crash pun there or what. But I mean, we've got to talk about that scene. Like, how can we not? What's worse, that scene or the scene the morning after?
Well, so that was the thing. I was like, obviously it kind of all happens very quickly. It's like, I mean, it doesn't. They're in the car for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's all of a sudden, oh shit, pole done. I think his reaction afterwards was done really well, where he was sat there frozen. But once what the fuck was he doing? Like, then when he just took himself home. No, I know he's stunned and I know he was in shock. But the fact that he just took himself home and then laid there for like 8 hours wide awake, waiting for her to be found, I was like, did you think it was going to be better to just wait? Like, and
sorry, Tal.
No, sorry, yeah.
You go, I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. But yeah, just like, it wasn't going to be better waiting 8 hours. Like, I know it was night and he needed to sober up, but
I mean, yeah, like, again, Toni Collette screen.
Yeah, like, I just don't think he knew what to fucking do. Yeah. And apparently Ari Aster, he loves to just focus the camera on someone's face for like minutes. Alex Wolff was like, I had to just keep going. And he's a method actor, Alex Wolff, so he made Ari call him Peter the entire time they were on set. So he was like fully invested in his character, and he said like the whole experience isn't something he'd ever do again, but he was so glad he did it. But like, yeah, so he was focused so much on his face, and I thought it made it kind of more shocking that when he just kind of like just drove off, because everyone would just be like, wait, what the fuck are you doing? But then he knows what's happened, so he's like, I don't need to look, I just want to fucking get home. He doesn't think about anything in the future. It's just what he wants to do right now.
No, true. That's actually that's a good way of saying it. It's like that's what he needed right then, was bed, just to lay. You say though that he knew what happened. He didn't need to hear look. But I actually had to wait for confirmation, because I was like, I don't know if her head's been taken off or if she's been pulled out the window. Like, I wasn't sure.
You don't know.
You don't know until the next morning and you see the ant infested head, which was fucking beautiful. But
stunning.
Something told me. I saw it and I was like, Tel's gonna have a bit to say about that.
I know. I was like, Tel's gonna have a field day with this film.
I hadn't even in my head been like, it's gonna be. I was like, whatever we see is gonna be gross. Yeah, it's gonna be gross. I hadn't actually considered bugs and ants, and I was like, that is such a good fucking touch, because you only ever really see that in films if it's like a dug up or a really old body. So the fact it happened in like 8 hours, I was like, fuck, that's beautiful. Like, that is absolutely stunning. Oh, it was great. Loved it.
I think as well, like it's not even like a quick flash on the head. It's like a good like 5 seconds plus. Like you get to see fucking damage getting done there.
Yeah, but I think you said as well about Annie's scream. I loved as well that scream went on for like 3 scenes, and it just tied them all together. I thought that was fucking incredible and so so powerful.
Like gut wrenching as well. Like that wasn't even like that was like a like pain.
That wasn't acting. That was someone who lost a child. That was heart wrenching.
Yeah,
and the scene where the dad's like trying to console her, and she's just on the floor, and then it just pans to Peter's face, and just him like, listening, and all of that was hard, because then you would see like Peter coming home from school, and he would be like hyping himself up to come into the house, because he's like, I can't face my mum, like I can't face her, I can't talk about this.
What do you think? Do you reckon that dinner table scene was the first time he had spoken to his mum about it?
I wonder, like properly.
Like,
I don't know, because she said when she screamed at him, she said something like, "You haven't even apologized," or "You keep making snarky comments." So I think they had kind of talked, but I don't think they'd spoken. I think there'd been like passing comments, or they'd been in the same room as each other. The cat's back, but I don't but the fact she was like, "You haven't even apologized," I couldn't believe that, because again, you could see Peter didn't mean to do it, and again she's like, "I know it was an accident," but she's still gone, and it's like he was as broken as everyone else, but he couldn't grieve, he couldn't, and again, because he's blaming himself, he's survivor's guilt, and I was so upset for Peter. Like, because again, we saw his side. We knew he didn't mean to do it. He was trying to save her, not kill her. And so, I assume there'd been like little bits, but he was probably out of like fear and probably trying to defend himself. That he was probably making snarky comments before his mum could say anything, just to be like, "You already hate me. I'll make you hate me more. Like, blame me." Like, it was probably that. It was probably like put himself down.
Yeah, there's probably a lot going on in that house. Like lots of complicated emotions, like, and like she said, now I can't forget and now I can't forgive, because she's almost saying like it's too late now, like you've not said. And she said, "Oh, I wish we could do something with this," like looking at the family, and it's so sad.
But like, why is the husband saying nothing? Like, it was his kid as well. That's what, and I know again people grieve differently, but he is so, maybe that is his way of grieving, actually, is to look after his family, and he just doesn't know what to say. It's heartbreaking.
He's still got to be there for his son as well. Like he obviously it's traumatic for him, because he is the one who has essentially killed his sister because of his actions. Okay, it's an accident. It's a bit like I was actually watching a documentary on it. There was a serial killer in the USA, and he was 13 and he killed his 5-year-old sister. And the mum was like, the only way, the mum was still in contact with his son, despite the fact that he was in prison, despite the fact that he had killed his sister, because his reasoning was, I didn't want to lose both children.
I do know the one you mean. I cannot remember
the psychopath one. Like, he's got an IQ of like 150%, ridiculous.
I couldn't say his name.
I guess it's that, like, anyway. I guess it's that, though. He doesn't want to lose both children. Neither of them want to lose both children.
No, but I think that is it, isn't it? It's the dad's trying to hold it together for everyone, but you don't really see him mourning. But again, I guess that's such a complicated feeling, to be mourning one child while trying to look after the other kid that's at fault, and it's very complicated.
Yeah, I guess as well, it's like stereotypically men tend to bottle up their emotions, and obviously we've always seen it like it was the mother-in-law as well. So it wasn't like it was anyone, especially if she was estranged from the mum, like it's not anyone super close to him, so he can sort of step back. So he hasn't had that sort of double hit of grief. All he's had is like a double hit of his wife grieving, and his own grief now with his daughter.
I don't know. I think I would have liked to see him grieve a little bit because, as you say, like men are always expected to be really stoic in that. And I'm like, I don't care that he was a therapist. Like he wasn't being the therapist of the family. Again, it should be okay to see men upset on screen.
Yeah.
So
no, I get that.
You saw a few bits, like he was in Charlie's room at one scene, and he was looking through her notepad, and then there was another scene where he picked Peter up from high school, and then he just broke down in the car, and then the lights turned to green, and he was still just sat in the car, like.
Yeah.
But that wasn't just to do with Charlie though. From that point, that was also because so much shit happened from that point.
Yeah.
Slamming his face into the desk and breaking his nose and all that bollocks. But like,
oh fucking hell, I forgot about that bit.
You are right, actually. He did break a couple of times, but it was that, wasn't he? He was always grieving on his own, but probably because he couldn't speak in front of anyone.
Yeah.
And he thought Annie was sick and that she was like having a breakdown, basically.
I mean, I can see his point.
she was having a tough time.
Yeah, Charlie's death. I mean,
we've covered that. Yeah.
But yeah, like, I think it was a very accurate perception of grief, all of that Annie went through. And just, can hard watch a lot mentally, just a lot. It was a lot for me, old brain, I'll say that.
I bet you walk out of this, I say I bet as if I haven't watched it, but I bet you walk out of this and just like, I need a drink. Like,
yeah, I need a very strong beverage right now.
Just very heavy. But I'm trying to think what happens. Other like, okay, so you've got like the woman then tries to convince her to do a seance. Joan. And then there's some like other clues and stuff before we get to the satanic cult. But I'm trying to fill in the blanks.
we keep seeing like that symbol, and there's a necklace. Also, sorry, it's a little. I'm not sure if it was an Easter egg or not, but the doormat that she had, and she had them for the things. It was in the same colours as the one from Midsummer's. It was the stitching. It was white and stitched. Like, I don't know whether that was on purpose or not, but I was like, oh, that's a bit midsummery, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know if it's on purpose, but yeah, we see that, and then obviously it all kicks off with the son and her. Then you see like the book was drawing in itself.
Yeah, that was cool.
And we also have him smacking his head at school as well. Like, it's all just very weird.
Yeah, like when just going back to the Annie and Peter, like their relationship, because Annie kind of like goes into it a bit more about how she sleptwalked once and she found herself with paint thinner all over her and her kids. And, you know, I can't blame Peter, to be fair. Like, I think that would cause a bit of a fractious fucking relationship with me and my mum if she did that to me.
Yeah.
Can't say I blame Peter for that, really.
And also we're inside one of her dreams as well, where she is basically saying, I should have.
That was scary, that bit.
And you see like the shock on her face, like she covers over her mouth, but then she keeps saying, it's like she can't stop herself.
Yeah, like, I never wanted to be your mum, and then she's like,
oh my God. And then says even more, and it's still just like shocked that it's going out of her mouth, and then it turns out it's a dream.
Yeah, she's like, am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama.
Am I the problem?
Yes, you are.
I'm the problem.
Annie,
it's me.
Yes, you are.
I would say go to therapy, but your husband's already married you. So.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently it worked very well the first time. Like,
how to find a boyfriend? Go to therapy.
Just hope the boyfriend also goes to therapy, not as a therapist.
I take that as no digs.
Therapist, but like preferably not your own. Again, conflict of interest.
Just a little bit.
Just a little. But yeah,
it's probably a bit too much.
Yeah, he's like, no, sorry, you need to get to know me as a normal person before you learn all my secrets.
Yeah. Oh my God, I know. Like literally, if you started dating your therapist, they would know all your like deepest, darkest fucking. And maybe that would be all right. And then you're not hiding anything from them. But like,
absolutely not.
Yeah, but that's not supposed to take years to come out. No,
exactly.
but at least like the 6th date, like.
I know. I swear nowadays it's like first date is your bang. Second date you might go and watch a movie, and then the third date you unleash all your emotional trauma on them. If they stay around, then that's it. You got a good.
Yeah. So this is all my baggage. What do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
Can you lift it, or do I need to move on?
Yeah. We don't care what you look like underneath your clothes, and if you're good in bed anymore. It's all about can you deal with the problem?
I will stand by that though. Like I think because oh my God, we've gone self topic, but I always said you're better off. To be fair, like if someone's bad in bed, they can learn to be better, especially when you're with them. Like as a partner, you can show them what you like. But if they're not good at like emotional stuff, they're not going to magically learn how to be good with emotional stuff.
I feel seen right now.
But
shitty ex-boyfriends, if you're listening.
Yeah, that would be really fucking weird. Stop stalking, move on, get a fucking life. If you are listening to your ex-girlfriend's podcast, you're a walking red flag. Fuck off.
Yeah, you don't have to be interested in what she does anymore. Just leave her alone.
At that point, are you the problem? Yes, go away.
Yes, I am the problem.
Wow, we've gone so off topic.
Yes.
This is our therapy. That's the problem.
God,
that is the problem.
Our poor listeners.
You are our therapist.
Well, Tel has literally told all the listeners her deepest, darkest fears, like eyes and
so
all
many
these
times.
things. So, like, I remember you saying before, Tel, like, if there are any fucking serial killers that listen to this podcast, you are absolutely fine.
They're going for your eyes first, mate.
And now they know. Yeah, now they're going to know how to get to me emotionally. 6 dates, I said.
And if you're shit at sex, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, literally, you don't even have to be good. I'll be like,
it's all right. They'll have your eyes out on date 7.
You've made it very easy, Sam.
I've made it so easy. Maybe I should stop being. Maybe I'm the easy problem.
Am I the drama?
Am I the drama? It's okay.
Anyway,
Mitch knows I'm crazy. It's fine. Anyway, so yes, we see like clues for most of the film, and then it just feels like that last 15 minutes everything hits the fan. But like kind of out of nowhere.
Well, we see her set on fire when she originally tries to throw the little notebook away.
Yeah.
So we know, okay, we don't burn this notebook because it's going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt the notebook. But obviously, like, yeah, like a lot happens in a short amount of time. Where do we start?
For me,
that's go up into the sorry.
Go, Katie.
Well, I think it kind of starts, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it starts with Peter, because when he sees the light and he starts following it, like the light, the orb, whatever you want to call it, that is Paimon, he sort of like follows it and sees it when he's in class, and that's when obviously he smashes his face into the table, and it's kind of all just kicking off from there. And you see like Paimon kind of sort of possessing them, but not quite as much as he does with Peter at the end, but like getting into their skin a little bit. And also Alex Wolff, he can actually dislocate his jaw because he dislocated it years ago. So he actually physically dislocated it for the role. He was like, it hurts so much, but it was worth it to get that shot.
It looks so good. It look like you think it's CGI. I didn't know that was real. That's mental.
I love that. One day he was just like, they were like, oh, so we need to make you look creepy. And he's just like, oh, I've got an idea.
Yeah. His commitment is fucking mad.
That is an insane commitment.
I know. But yeah, so I think it starts with Peter, and then obviously, as Charlie says, like when Annie throws it into the fire, you think that Annie's going to set on fire, and then the poor fucking dad gets it.
Well, yeah, because she goes up into the loft at some point as well, and obviously discovers her mother's body, but can't tell it's her mum's body because it's, oh my god, just rotten, like flies, everything, and that fucking symbol again
with no head.
With no head.
this is my biggest gripe with this film, though, is how the fuck could nobody smell a dead body literally above them?
Well, we find out, like, I think it's in one of the first scenes after the death of a body, like they called up and it's the husband that takes the call,
yeah,
being like, oh fuck, like
her grave's been desecrated.
Yeah, it's like, it's only been a week, like
if that, like, it was ridiculously quick. And again, that was the cult members, and it was taking them up there, because I think as well you can hear, so when they get back from the funeral you hear footsteps, so you can like hear them up there. But again, how did you not notice the smell? It's literally above your head. Actually, I think the husband mentions the smell.
Yeah, like, they mentioned a few times.
But I mean, I know there's a lot else going on and they're grieving, but that smell would get really fucking rotten very quickly. Also, when she opens the loft, there's like thousands of flies, maybe not thousands, but it feels like they're small, so maybe thousands. Like, that's not a few amount of flies that you'd have heard them buzzing. Also, you don't then just walk up into the attic. Like, if there were that many flies, I'd be like, nah, I'm calling whoever for help. Like,
yeah, I think as well, like when we've seen like other paranormal movies, like The Conjuring, for example, they talk about the smell and how it smells like rotting flesh and things. So I guess it's sort of playing on that. Like, obviously they do mention the fact that it stinks in the house. So I guess it is giving that feeling. It's like, oh, fucking ghost of some shit in there, isn't there? I guess we just put the fire on, put a bit of incense on, some fucking Yankee candles.
Yankee candle. God, fucking poisonous smell of those would get rid of the smell of rotting flesh, that's for sure.
The anti-corpse one you want.
Well,
the anti-corpse, mate.
They're just...
But there is the one bit where Annie's dreaming and she dreams that Peter's covered completely in flies. And I wonder if that's kind of like, maybe it's linked in some way, that she kind of has a premonition about it, like she kind of knew subconsciously about it.
There is lots of orbs and lots of shadows in this movie, moving between the characters, and I can't remember if there's any of them in that scene, but I feel like there is, just because they seem to show up all the time by that point. And then the red lights in the treehouse as well.
There was a couple I was really proud to spot, because again, sometimes you need to, like, the second or third time to watch to see them. But it was when Annie knocks over the paint, but she doesn't knock it over, she doesn't touch it, but you see the shimmer in the background. And the other one is like Peter, he's sat next to his window and like breathes out the window, but there's breathing on the left hand side of the screen. And I was so glad that I saw them, because I was like, normally you'd have to watch a film like 2 or 3 times. And I was like, fuck yeah, I got it first time round.
They even mentioned
the paint one. That's awesome.
Yeah. And there's also, they talk about like the air flexing around them as well.
But as well, it's funny that Peter felt that a lot more than the dad, because Paimon's after him, because it's hereditary and he's just married into the family.
Yeah, and he is a male host.
And that's it, that's what Paimon wants, isn't it? A male host.
Also, I think Ari Aster does that so well, where like in Midsummer, I know Midsummer came out after, but like in the trees and stuff, when we were talking about it in our episode, when you could see like the mum and the oxygen mask and all of that, and all these kind of hidden things. And I know I'm going a bit ahead of myself, but when Annie's possessed, and I don't know if you guys noticed it, but when Peter wakes up in bed and you can see her in the corner of the literally, I've never been so fucking scared.
I actually didn't see her straight away. I saw her when she ran.
Yeah, so that was the first time I watched the movie. That's when I saw her, and I was like, you know, when it thinks something's a bit weird, because earlier on we see what we think is Charlie in his room, and it's not. It's like a shirt on like a back of a chair, and then we do see Charlie in his room, but Annie's right behind. But yeah, it's that the scarpering.
But then it's the fucking naked people just following him around the house, and it's the one grinning in the cupboard is the mourner from the beginning who just kept grinning, and I'm like, why are you so creepy? Like, sometimes smiling is creepy. Like, but also there was the scene, and I think this was my second biggest bugbear, was so many of the scenes were really stretched out, and that's Ari Aster's kind of thing, is like pregnant pauses. And then there was one bit where he went daytime, nighttime. And I was like, why couldn't you do that for half the film? Like, I'd have been in paradise. But when he switches to night, there's naked cult people in the forest around the house.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's because again, it's one of those things you think you can see something. And it's like, something's there.
Something looks odd, but I can't work out what it is.
Well, yeah, because you wouldn't assume naked cultists quite yet, because I don't think we've seen them yet. And then all of a sudden, these naked cultists are just in the house, and I'm like, I'm sorry, did I miss that something? Like,
yeah, it's the fact there's one in the fucking like just setting this.
So,
what was the mum's fucking in the corner of the room?
Well, yeah, because you're expecting her to jump, and then all of a sudden he looks the other way, and he's just like in the cupboard.
And then she just went out a completely different direction, and you're like, what the fuck?
It was her banging on the loft made me really laugh. Not laugh, actually, it was quite creepy, but because when
was recreating Alex at school.
Yeah, but when Peter was in the attic and he could hear the banging, I was like, how the fuck is she doing that? And then when you saw it, I would just laugh because I was like, that is not what I was expecting, but it makes total sense. Like,
it's also fucking horrible.
So quickly.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck? But
it's almost like she's possessed.
Almost like she's possessed. But then how does she get into the attic? I know she's possessed, but can Paimon just walk through walls? Like, how the fuck does she get in there?
Shit.
Paimon can do.
Yeah. Paimon can do what the fuck he wants.
He's the 8th king of hell, mate. He can.
But when they need to move her body later, it does that weird floaty thing where it looks like it's in the Barbie movie and it's just been moved along, and I couldn't take that fucking seriously. But somehow he just evaporates into the fucking loft. That makes no fucking sense.
I'm just Annie.
That whole
floating headless body.
It just looked fucking stupid.
To my cabin.
It really looked fucking stupid. Like, I'm sorry, I know people are like, it's the greatest scary moment. No, it's fucking stupid.
For me, the cult bit ruined the entire movie.
Oh,
I'm not a fan of it.
So the whole last 15 minutes.
Yeah, like the whole, like I don't like the possession bit. I feel like it just goes off key. Like, I get it, but I also don't like it. I feel like there could have been a different ending that would have been way better. I feel like the cult bit was a bit too messy. I'm not a fan of that part.
I just think
and then he gets misnamed Charlie. It's like you're home.
No, because Charlie was in him. That's why he clicked.
Yeah, but I just wasn't I'm just not a fan of that ending, and that's what ruined it for me. But yeah,
I think it would have been so much better. You thought it was perfect?
Yeah, I loved it.
I think it would have been better
about this film, you know.
I think it would have been better if the mum had actually been like sleepwalking and killing off her family slowly.
I just the mum sawing off her head with like a fucking fishing wire.
That was fucking terrifying. The sound effect on that was incredible. But okay, Katie,
and
why
Toni Collette just giving the eyes, just like
yeah.
But yeah, Katie, why?
For all the reasons you guys are saying, like that's why it was perfect. I mean,
and the dad on fire.
That was great. That was great. But I wish it was her that set him on fire, not some weird satanic demon. I wanted her.
This film is very much focused around grief and about family trauma, but the satanic cult and all of that comes into play right at the beginning. It's always been there.
I know.
It just goes fucking AWOL, like not AWOL, but it goes mad at the end. But I don't know, I thought that shot was really beautiful because it was completely silent. There was no music. She was just lifted up. And it's one of those midsummer moments where like everything's kind of done in this serene, calm music. And then you at the end and you see them all propped up and the house burns down. It really reminded me of that. Again, I know Hereditary came out before, but it just had that vibe to it. And it was kind of almost like something beautiful about it because the way it looked was beautiful and the tree house looked amazing and the woods around it. And just the fact that now like Peter's body is being used as this fucking
hell.
Yeah, like and all the rest of the family are dead. I mean, Peter's essentially dead, but like they're using his body. I just thought all of it was perfect, and it was always about being in this whole like cult was always there, it was just shadowed a little bit by grief and by trauma and all of that as well. I just thought it was perfectly done, like everything about it. I think especially the music, that's what Ari Aster does. He just puts all this calming, serene music in with it as well, and you just kind of think, what am I watching right now?
But for music, I could go fucking full nerd on. I'm not going to though. But they talk about how and they show me photos of the god, devil, demigod thing, whatever it is, being summoned by trumpets, and they use trumpets right at the end to bring it all up, and it's like, oh shit, like, and there's it occurs for it as well, like the party crashing scene, like that there's trumpets get, like, it's, yeah, it gets echoed around, and he really does smash it out, the music on this.
I think that's the thing. I think there were so many Easter eggs in this, and as you say, Katie, the cult was always there, but there's a lot of like Easter eggs. There's one point where they get their post and then a flyer comes in that advertises the cult, but it's so subtle, it's almost too subtle that you're not see, Charlie, you didn't even see it. Like, I only saw it because I literally was like, watched a thing where it was like, I need to see more Easter eggs, because I was like, there was definitely clues there. I haven't got time to find them all again. But I think though the problem is they're almost too subtle that suddenly the ending, just as you say, it goes from 0 to 100 out of fucking nowhere, but the clues were kind of along the way, but at the same time I think
it wasn't enough.
And I think there was so much there about the family grief, there was so much real fear and horror within their family, and then all of a sudden there was a satanic cult attack. Oh, by the way, we've always been here, grandma made a deal with the devil. Like, hang on a second, what? Like, I'm grieving my 13-year-old daughter, and I just think and again, I think I said this the other day about The Witch, where I was like, they either needed, if they're going to do two things, you need more of both, or you need to pick a side. Because for me, it was very much, we're going to focus heavy on this and then slam this on at the end.
Yeah, like an afterthought type thing. Is that what we need to wrap it up somehow, because we've been putting it in there? But
it'd been peppered about, so it had been thought about, but it hadn't been shown off enough. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, big reveal, and it was like, hang on a second, what? Like,
I'm with you on that. Even without, because I didn't notice those Easter eggs. Even in fact, going down to like seeing people in the woods, I didn't really notice them. I know that something was up, but I didn't know there was like people watching them. So yeah, I think I'm with you on that, and I think that is why for me it sort of takes away from the rest of the movie, which I was really enjoying.
Okay, so but you say that like, oh, you need some time for the grief. But like the whole reason Charlie is dead is because of the satanic cult.
True. I'll give you that.
Oh, she did also eat a chocolate pie, the chocolate cake.
Chocolate pie.
But yeah, she would have got to the hospital and been fine, in theory. I don't know. It was all just very...
I hear you. I know what you're saying.
I think I was just expecting to love it more, and I think that's what always kind of brings me down when I just don't, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
It's my fault how I think I big these films up, and then you're like, what the fuck is this?
We've got to remain neutral now if we've seen a movie.
To be fair, this one you'd been careful of, because I think you knew it was a long movie, and you said about pregnant pauses, so you were like, I am worried you're not gonna like it.
Are you gonna like this? I don't know.
And it just...
I do find it funny that you thought it was too long, because the first death is within 45
minutes before the first... Well, I know the first opening was a funeral, but 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, but does there have to be deaths in a horror film for it to be a horror?
No.
Yes. We need some fucking gore.
And the thing is as well, like a lot of films, it will be the last like half an hour that's explosive. But this one just felt like it was 15 minutes. And I was like, that's a really condensed explosion, considering they could have had naked, creepy cult people following them around way earlier. And it would have been way creepy. And just like hidden in the back. Like, it was like 2 hours, 10 minutes.
What?
Because I kept checking.
127 minutes, that's 2 hours.
2 hours, 10 minutes, 7 minutes. Like, no.
No, okay.
It's not a great sign that you're checking when it's over, that's for sure.
Yeah, because, well, again, I was like, I need to get out of the bath, and there feels like there's not a conclusion yet. Like,
I'm turning into a prune. Come on, Annie.
Oh, that's where you know that you've done a bath right, though.
when the film's still going. And I'm like, have I been in
No,
here?
when you're a prune, I mean, I could be in the bath for fucking hours, me.
No, because I'm not doing anything. That's why I have to watch a film while in the bath, because I have to stay in the bath to do the soak.
Oh.
So, because I'm getting old and my body's falling apart slowly. Not even slowly, like the day after I turned 30, my body rapidly declined.
I've still got another couple of months, and this week alone, I've lost my voice and also did my back in so much so that I couldn't actually get off the toilet at one point. I had to get my mum to come around my house and lift me up.
30 next month, mate.
We're gonna have to get you one of those railings that you have in older people's houses to get off the loo.
You know what, Charlie? I haven't got you a 30th birthday present yet, so you're giving me some ideas.
Zimmer frame.
I'm not gonna lie, I was needing a Zimmer frame this week. Ideally one with some wheels on as well to make it easier. I was using my daughter's scooter to get around the ground floor of my house.
I know just the thing you need. I'll send you an Amazon link. But yeah, it's fucking rough. So
No. I hear you. I hear what you're saying, and I know it's not kind of for everyone, but I just think I love him, like, as a director and everything. The way he kind of does everything, it's sort of like it doesn't really sit right with you. It's not like a normal horror film. It sort of makes you feel lots of different things, and it's just a different kind of horror. And I think he's really, like we were saying about Mike Flanagan for Gerald's Game, I think he's really introduced this kind of new version of horror, and I just love it. And I guess I just really get on with it, and I'm so excited to see what else he's going to do sort of in the future.
Just out of interest, have you seen Beau is Afraid?
I have, yeah.
Well, is it along the same sort of style? Because I've seen The Strange Thing About the Johnsons.
Yeah.
And I can see where that's coming from within
the
last Hereditary and Midsommar. But I was wondering, because it's got Jacqueline Phoenix in, doesn't it?
Yeah, Strange Thing About the Johnsons. Fuck me. I thought about that.
I mean, that was a ride and a half. Chantel will love it. It's only half an hour long.
Hell, if you want family fucking trauma, watch that.
It is fucking amazing. But Jesus Christ, it takes you on a ride. I had to watch I think it was like 3 hours of cartoons after watching that, honestly, just to fry my mind and get it out of my system.
Perfect. That's what I'm watching when we finish this.
Yeah, definitely. You should actually.
Honestly, it's fucking amazing, but it is like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck have I watched?
There we go.
No, so Beau is Afraid has got a slightly sort of different vibe in a different film. It's not as kind of like direct horror as maybe like Midsommar or Hereditary is. It's still very intense and like scary in some ways, but it's also just, it's quite different. But you know it's Ari Aster doing it. It's weird. But it's definitely worth a watch, I reckon. I think Tel would fucking hate it, because I think it's longer than, I think it's about 3 hours.
I know. Let me have a look at
Why?
It might not be.
No, like if it's getting to that long, just make a series.
It's 179 minutes.
That's too fucking long. That's 3 hours. At that point, make a mini series, because do you know what? I'll watch a mini series and leave me on a cliffhanger. I fucking love it. I'll come back for more. I'll come back.
Well, there we go. Strange Thing About the Johnsons for you, and I'll watch Beau is Afraid. There we go.
Perfect.
I'll be begging for the next episode. If you just did a bloody mini series, 3 of them, I'll watch them in a row. But I cannot watch a film of 3 hours. Don't understand why, but that's just life.
If you guys can both watch those in our next recording, we can have a chat about them. We'll put some time aside and have a chat about both those films.
Nice.
Yes.
Just like 5 minutes, but
3 films an episode now.
But it's got a mini in, and it's got a fucking epic in there.
All right. Well, we came to the end. That's fine. We've come to the end. One thing I was giggling about earlier, oh, for fuck's sake, stupid phone. One thing I was giggling about earlier was when I was looking up the description and some of the stuff around Hereditary and the SFX, is one of the most asked questions is Hereditary the scariest movie ever? And again, I would say no, but I agree with Katie. I'm going to be thinking about that lamppost scene for quite a while. And the piano string. However, looking at the SFX, because that does help me stop thinking about it, to be fair, because I think of it more of a that way rather than
practical effects, rather than
practical. Yeah, I wouldn't have done. So
I'm waiting until summer until the ants are out. It fucking creeps you out.
Lovely. Yeah, I know, that's what I'll be thinking about it. So I'm getting this from the Stan Winston School of Character Arts, and if anyone was to pay for me to go there, I would very much appreciate it. But so they were looking at using prosthetics for Hereditary. So it was the prosthetic makeup designer is Steve Newburn. He's also worked on Suicide Squad and Flatliners, 12 Monkeys, the television series. So they do TV series. So they were responsible for the prosthetic work, and they also helped with sort of like the smaller injuries, like the broken nose, the split lip for Peter. But what they had to do was
his own jaw.
He could do his own jaw. I love that fact. But they had to do an entire prosthetic gag for Toni Collette, because obviously she had to take off her neck with a piano wire. So that's like the whole cast where it gets put on so that they can do that. And even Charlie, so obviously the actress who played her, Millie Shapiro, I think I did the maths right. I think she was about 16 when she filmed this. I might be wrong because, again, maths is not my strong point. But she looks really cute in her, like she's got the full body cast on. And then they obviously did a head cast as well. I'll share the pictures with you guys. I do want to put these on the Instagram. They are incredibly gory, so we may have to put a warning on them first in case people are like me and scrolling while they're at work. But they obviously did that, and then they had to, it was a collapsible inner skull, which we saw for a different film, Midsummer, of course, when they mallet on his head. So they would pop back up and then kind of make it more and more disgusting as they go. So honestly, I don't know if you can see quite how grim they are, but considering this poor girl would have seen her own face absolutely
smashed up.
She's
like, you know what? I'm not going to be sticking my head out of the window anytime soon.
Well, literally.
Because I'm going to look like that.
I remember, though, as a kid getting told by my parents to get my head in because they were worried about shit like this happening. So if I'd watched this as a child, it never would have been a problem. But because my confusion was they let our dogs hang their heads out the window, and why could they do it and I couldn't? So clearly this was not an argument I was going to win. But anywho, so I'm going to read this because it'll be easier than me trying to put it in my own words. So tests were carried out. So the skull was obviously meant to hit the lamppost. Tests were carried out in the makeup shop using a baseball bat to simulate the telephone pole's impact. But even without the planned track guiding the car, so they were going to have it on a track, that wasn't working. So they had to do it instead I can't speak today, I'm very sorry. So they had an animatronic puppet. The car was supposed to be mounted, and there's supposed to be an animatronic puppet hit into the telephone pole. But because of various changes, it had to be done with a stunt performer driving the vehicle, a fully operational vehicle, at 60 miles an hour. So basically, the stunt had to happen as exactly it happened in the scene, and they had the prosthetic hanging out the window. Now, what's even more incredible is they did that in one take. And what they said was so the driver, he nailed it in the first times. Steve would also say that it looked fantastic, but they only used a few frames of it as it was a little too disturbing. So despite as disturbing as it was for us to watch, they only used a few frames, which is like less than seconds. And then so God knows what the real version looked like. They obviously also had to make other bodies for later in the film, so like the grandmas and the mums when they're headless and they're praying. But they were also when it came to like the scarring and stuff, they handed that off to Greg Moon, who was the department head, and a key makeup artist, Abigail Spencer. But they also took on the responsibility of doing the miniatures because they were struggling to find a team to do that. And I don't know how much you guys, like, I looked up pictures of the miniatures because they were a little hard for me to see kind of watching it in the film. Like, you could get the gist, but I wanted to see them closer. And there's one where like Annie's in bed breastfeeding her son, and her mother's literally got her boob out trying to breastfeed the kid. Like, it shows you so much about. There's one where like the mum was watching the couple sleep, like Annie and her husband. So I think the miniatures really do a lot to tell you more about the family and more about other bullshit going on that's happened in Annie's life. And sorry, I stumbled over my words a lot.
Because also I think there's when, doesn't she say to Charlie, like, oh, you were always her favorite.
Yes.
When she wanted to feed, when I wanted to feed her, she always wanted to feed you. She would never let me feed you, which is like, so is that implying that Annie let the grandma breastfeed her?
I don't know if it was breastfeed or bottle feed. I'm not sure.
Which means she was getting her tit out in the.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
I don't know.
The amount of stories I've read on Reddit, I wouldn't be surprised that there have been like mother-in-laws and fucking.
My favourite is the fucking mum on the morning of the fucking wedding, and then the bride walks in. Oh my, sorry.
You have to say that to me because I was.
Yeah. Oh, it's mental.
Some of them are crazy.
Also, talking about the doll's house again, what they did with the cameras, they did film on set, but they also made for sets as well, so they could recreate that dollhouse feel between the actual live action sets and the dollhouse set, so it all felt like it was seamlessly one.
But this was my thing with it, because right at the beginning you see the dad, like it zooms into the dollhouse and the dad walks into the son's room, daughter's room.
Yeah.
So like, was it taking place in the dollhouse the whole time? Was this all just bullshit?
No.
How do you know?
It was happening.
How do we know?
Well, there's a fucking satanic cult. We don't fucking know anything in it,
right?
Do we?
They've never turned up in stories.
I think that was kind of like a symbol of like the satanic cult, basically, like putting them in their place the whole time, sort of playing with them. Like they had control. Dolls. Yeah, like they had control of that family the entire time. I think that was what it was kind of trying to. Well, that's what I got from it anyway.
Okay. I'll take that.
Big Brother's watching.
But what do I fucking know?
How are we doing? Would we survive? What are we trying to survive?
The satanic cult.
Paimon.
Okay, how far along would you die in this?
Yeah, right.
I'm saying my name's Charlie. I'm surviving, and I'm coming back, motherfuckers. Like,
you're not surviving. You're getting placed into another body.
I'm still alive in spirit. That's all that matters.
Actually, Charlie, you're okay because you haven't got any brothers, so like you haven't got any male relatives for them to be like. That would be Paimon.
True. There we go.
You are also called Charlie, so
I am the Paimon.
No.
Yeah. I'm coming back to haunt you, motherfuckers. Sit my head on top of a pigeon. Here we go. Let's go, lads.
I think Paimon needs a Zimmer frame, I'm afraid.
Probably has a voice.
Yeah.
This is a weird one. I'm not really sure what or how we're trying to survive.
I'm just gonna say no. I mean, no fucking chance, really, is there? Everyone dies unless you're part of the cult.
Would I accidentally join a satanic cult?
You know what, Tel? I love you, but fucking probably you would.
It's the sort of shit I'd accidentally do and be like, I'm not sure.
You'd be like, look, I'm free on a Wednesday evening. Sign me up. I've got a free evening. It's something else to do.
Hey, Charlie, I've got some new mates for you to meet. This is Beelzebub.
Yes, Lucifer.
Yeah, this is Lucifer. He prefers Lucy. It sounds like the thing I'd accidentally do.
Oh, looks like I've got a bit of speed dating to do with you, mate.
Oh dear. I don't really. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just dying. Tel's in the cult, and Charlie's Charlie.
I am the rule of Earth now. Thank you very much.
Charlie dies, but comes back in an unclaimed host because we don't know who it would be yet.
We don't. There's no male in like blood in her family. Yeah, I don't know.
Unless it runs on your dad's side, and then you.
Yeah, it could be your dad.
Oh, fuck that.
We'll be in your dad's body.
Oh,
no, thank you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Anyway,
doesn't sound great, does it?
So, guys, what are we giving Hereditary spookies out of 5? And what is your favourite spooky moment from le film? Charlie, I'll come to you.
My favourite spooky moment, I am going to say where right at the end where the mum runs across the room and you're like, what the fuck was that? Like, absolutely not. Like, yeah, no. I'm going to give it a 3.5 spookies. Just because, as I said all along, that last bit with the cult, I ain't a fan of it. The rest of it, absolutely beautiful. Toni Collette smashed it. The rest of them smashed it. Fucking Alex dislocating his jaw, smashed it. Like, yeah. So Yeah. Toni Collette running across ceilings. Fuck that. How about you, Chantel? How do you? What's your spookies and how many spookies?
So my spooky moment, I'm gonna go with the lamppost because how could you not? And I think I'm gonna give us 2.5. Like,
oh my god,
I really like the SVX. There's definitely bits that start with me, but I just don't think it lives up to the fucking hype.
Oh
like,
my god,
can people stop hyping up horror movies that don't deserve it? Also, it's too fucking long. Like,
Katie's face as a picture as you said
I know.
that.
I feel like we should have gone to Katie first. I'm gonna come to Katie now. Are you just giving it a 5 out of 5?
Jesus fuck.
Here to disappoint.
Okay. So my spooky moment is gonna be when she's in the corner and Peter wakes up and she's in the corner, because I didn't see that when I first watched it, and it was such a little hidden gem. Yeah, it's just horrible. That'll be my spooky moment, and I'm giving this 5 spooks out of 5.
Oh fuck it!
It's a perfect horror film. It's one of my favorites, favorite modern horror film to me. I think it's one of the scariest horror films I've ever seen, and it just does a lot to me. It does a lot to me mentally, man. So I think it's so effective. So yeah, 5 for me.
I find horror movies now more effective if I wasn't bored.
Oh fuck no.
I can't. Yeah, I'm just having a look at what we've got next week to be like, is there ever going to be a week?
I respect your opinion, Tal.
I respect.
I don't. And I rated it down, but I don't respect a fucking 2. What was it? 2.5.
2.5. Like, it's halfway there.
8.
No.
Halfway there. I don't know. I'd watch it again, and the thing is, I may watch it again and go, do you know what? I was wrong. But right now, I'm sticking with what I've said. But that was our Hereditary episode. So check us out next week and check us out on all the socials to see what our next film is going to be. And join us again for more chaos and me disappointing Katie. She's just staring off into space now because the love is gone.
She's given up.
She really has.
Bye-bye.
Don't die.
Get hit by a lamppost.
Yeah, just keep all limbs in cars, please.
Keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. It's not over because that bitch is dead.
Let's delve into that a bit deeper.
I'm going to be like the peacekeeper between you two tonight.
Yeah,
fuck with the original.
Yeah, don't fuck with the original.